Aloha kakayaka e Hawaii. This is Poka Lainui, and you are listening to Hawaiian Potpourri. Time now is 37 minutes after the hour of 6 o'clock, and you are listening to Hawaiian Potpourri on radio station KWAI 1080 on your AM dial. I had just been talking about this subject of how do we create an Ola society rather than a Dai society, and as we are watching the progress being made in the international arena as well as in the local arena with regards to the creation of a new society, with the opportunity that seems to be coming about for an independent Hawaii. Many people cannot see it. Other people see it very clearly. I see it. I think there's what is the word for it? It is inevitable. That's the word for it. It's inevitable that Hawaii will be choosing its own future in the near future. Johann Galtung says by the year 2020, you will find the collapse of the American empire. At that time, I'm saying it will bring about new opportunities to move forward into our future. And so it's important that we plan for that future now, because you don't want to have a collapse occur, an opportunity being raised, and then we find our planning beginning at that point, and in that planning we remain stuck in a DIE mentality in which we end up hating one another, killing one another, taking these kinds of attitudes. So the attitude is very important in how we make that switch. And so I invite you to join in making that switch, in developing that attitude. And again, I invite you to go to my website and to that paper dealing with envisioning a future for Hawaii. Our telephone number here is 524-1080. If you would like to join in a discussion on that topic, call me at that number and we'll put you on the radio. Here is our first caller for the morning. We'll get him on or her on right now. Aloha caller, welcome to the program.
Hi, Poka. How are you this morning?
Yes, fine. Good morning to you.
Good morning, and it's a nice morning. I always feel a change in me when I hear Brother Israel song. So I want to thank you for bringing that to us.
Yes, you're welcome.
I've been in Hawaii for 23 years, and I wanted to say that, like everybody, this thing called human development is such a wonderful mystery how it unfolds and occurs. And the development that we all go through as people, as society, is impacted by so many influences. And I have found that in my own life, my family, and on a personal level and on a political level, Dr. King and his writings that I continue to study, has impacted how I think and how I try to act. But here it's been a different situation that I've tried to look at and understand the Native Hawaiian culture since I am a white person. And I find that the more I learn about the Hawaiian culture, my own development is affected. And I wanted to also say that I have been fortunate to know you, Poka, and through the radio and other mechanisms, and would say, like Dr. King and my family influences me, and the Native Hawaiians influence me, you have done much to influence my thinking and way of being. And the Dai analysis of deep culture that you have, and the emphasis that you keep putting on a more gentle, a more caring, a more aloha orientation is something that is impacting me in many ways. So I wanted to thank you and the people of this occupied land for the way you and they impact the development of myself and other people. That's really helpful, and I thank you very much. There's a saying that helps us keep grounded in this struggle for justice and peace, and that is that it's important to think globally and act locally. And we know from Buddhism and quantum physics, that everything is connected. So what we do locally affects globally. What happens globally affects things locally. And there's something going on that ties into the paper that you have posted on your website, which I'm grateful that you've done, that ties in global affairs with local affairs and really ties into the Envisioning paper, and that is what's happening at the University of Hawaii. Because we live in a colonialized situation, all of the institutions function out of a colonial psychology. The University of Hawaii is no different. And the tremendous media attention on this Stevie Wonder concert problem has drawn our attention to the university and has impacted our thinking about the role of the university, much like in the Envisioning paper, the role of education in creating a more just, a more caring society. A big part of that is our education institutions and the University of Hawaii. So there is an effort to help expand the public's understanding of how the University of Hawaii functions as a colonializing entity. And over the past 4 decades has a clear pattern of colonialization by oppressing free speech and efforts to use the university as a mechanism to envision and realize a better society. And so on Tuesday of this week, there is a group of people coming together at the second meeting of State Senator Donna Kim's Committee on Accountability, which will have a number of people from the university testifying. And what's unraveling here is an awareness of much of what's in your Envisioning paper, and that is that the university has engaged in increasing government contracts with the United States Navy, and it has resulted in classified research that no one can look at that increases the militarization of our society. When you look at the issue of, in your paper on the Envisioning, when we look at the food, the need to have food independence, the University of Hawaii's cafeteria and all food vendors are providing the students and the public with genetically modified food, which is a very big problem. And the efforts of a group on Tuesday will be to talk about militarization, the request for no more genetically modified food on campus, and to have non-genetically modified food, and a number of other issues. One that's important to me, and I think it would be important to you, is that the University of Hawaii is on ceded lands. There have been multiple formal complaints filed at the university on institutional racism that includes the use of culturally biased tests that adversely affect Native Hawaiians from getting into the admission process. And so we're going to talk about the right of self-determination and the ways in which the university, like other institutions, have an adverse effect on Native Hawaiians. I wanted to say that it was originally named a protest rally. But listening to your show this morning and being impacted by yourself and others, I'm going to be proposing to the group that it be renamed so that we capture the spirit of Olu that you've talked about, and to call it from protest to aloha and transformation. Because surely, in order to develop, we need to raise our voices in protest about the injustices that go on. However, like Dr. King, like what you're advocating, in protesting, we need to maintain a spirit of peace, love, justice, and aloha in order to foster transformation. So I would invite your listening audience to consider joining us. This will complement the Envisioning paper and process that you've been talking about. Tuesday's effort will be a protest from protest to aloha and transformation, looking at the University of Hawaii, how we can build a great university that's grounded in pieces, in principles of aloha and lokahi, in order to move towards envisioning and realizing a new society here. So we'll be meeting at the Legislative Plaza at 10:30 on Tuesday, and I would invite the listening audience to join us. It's any time between 10:30 and 12 o'clock noon, and hopefully we'll be carrying the spirit of aloha as we express protest, but move to transformation in society. So I'll take your comments off the air.
Okay, thank you very much for presenting this view.
Thank
Aloha. You. And wow, I had not seen the issue in such a broad view. So, Michael, thank you very much for presenting the issue not only as a question of individuals and investments and trying to get the Stevie Wonder concert to Hawaii, but seeing it from the much larger view of what the university is, what its role to Hawaii is and should be, envisioning as part of the discussion on education, I guess, what is the university supposed to be presenting. And Michael has already talked about that colonial psychology that the university is part of and has been perpetuating. And is there and should there be a new vision for the university? To a certain extent, I'm thankful to the university for showing me the ways of the white world. It has given me the opportunity to walk in both worlds whenever I get back to my community in Waianae, and then traveling that distance to get to the university. And for a number of years, it's been a total of 7 years that I attended the university. So for that purpose, I am grateful. But I do believe, as Michael is suggesting, that the university can serve an even greater purpose than merely an instrument for colonizing my own mind and being a better American, a better citizen for the system that now exists. The university should be moving far beyond just that limitation, and it should be bringing about many new opportunities, moving away from the kinds of constrictions or restrictions that it has. And this, for me, it's fresh because I had not seen the details that he had brought about, the practice of racism at the university. You know, I did get into the university. I did test, and for me, fortunately, I tested well, so I was able to get into the university out of Waianae High School, and then I was able to get into the law school, having graduated from the university. But there are many others who could have come out with just as successful opportunity that I came out with. I got a degree in 4 years. I got a law degree in 3 years, and eventually became a licensed, and still am a licensed attorney. But that doesn't mean that that gateway to get in should be having to pass the bias of racism in qualifying by passing these tests. Because I know that there are many others in Waianae who could have been just as successful, but for the fact that they were not able to adapt, to be able to walk in two worlds at an earlier time. For me, I had that opportunity, I had that experience. I was elected to some offices that pushed me into that world. Otherwise, I would have stayed with my friends and relations who are not as involved, and so we were essentially those who were left behind. There are many who are left behind in the Waianae area, and it's not only Waianae, it's Waimanalo, and it's over many of these areas. Even in Honolulu, there are people who may not test well. What we did at the law school was say what we need is what did we call it? Affirmative recruitment. And this was part of the first year entering class, and we were a little bit older, having gone to the university. I went to military service, and there were others of us who also went through that experience. We were somewhat involved in community affairs. And so what we said was, why are we not getting as many Samoans as we should, as many Hawaiians as we should, as many Filipinos as we should, as many other Pacific Islanders? So we started this affirmative recruitment program, in which we also changed the admission requirements so that you could come into the first class, and if you needed extra help, we would have tutoring, we would have taking up other courses to meet your particular needs. And there have been many people who have come in through the affirmative program. They may have spent 3.5 semesters rather than 3 semesters, but they eventually graduated, and they are members of the bar and just as effective as attorneys in the bar as any of us who went through the regular program. And what I'm saying is that is a kind of removal of the biases that the university continues to perpetuate. I don't know if there are also affirmative programs in other places, but why should it be necessarily those affirmative programs? What we need to do is take a direct look at the entrance level of the university. But this is just a sample of how the university has been a colonializing instrument. And need it be that, or should it be an instrument that brings about the dignity of all of us in all of our ethnicities, in all of our dreams, and moving us beyond, rather than being a servant for the United States military, to have these secret secret departments working to develop secret weapons and other things like that. Is that really what our university is supposed to be? I don't think so. So the idea of envisioning a new structure, a new institution, a new instrument for what education is really supposed to be about. What Michael is suggesting is that this gives us an opportunity to take that envisioning approach. Yes, protest is important, and it should be an important part of bringing us to the position of envisioning. Because if you don't protest, if you are satisfied with what now exists, you're not envisioning something new. So I think, yes, protest is important, but it's the form in which it is placed, and that it doesn't stop merely at protest, but with an alternative choice to be made. You know, at times when I first tried to develop this idea of what is the deep culture of our society, and then I came to the formulation of domination, individualism, and exclusion. But I felt that it was not good enough merely to stop there. As we speak with people, we need to tell them that there are other alternatives, and we need to present in just as simple a way what the other alternatives are, so that they can not only protest the existing deep culture, but they are able to move into an alternative. And by giving people the choice, then they can see new visions, new dreams of what it can become. And I think for the University of Hawaii, it's the same way. I would tell a person, don't only tell me what the university is and why it should not be what it is, but tell me what it should become. What kind of an institution should it be? Should it be essentially an institution for the military to use? Is it an institution for corporate America to use to do their research and development, and then sell it to or give it to corporate America? Is it merely another athletic department, and which oftentimes we hear more about the athleticism at the university rather than the educational or the reformation of new societal dreams that comes out of the university? So what really is a university? Or should it be something that can envision the future and then be specific about the kinds of thoughts, the kind of relationships that could be developed? How we really should be the East-West Center core at the University of Hawaii, rather than being what it is now, the East-West Center, merely an instrument of the USAID or the United States CIA or any other instrument who secretly slips into these institutional walls and pretend that it is for friendly relationship, when oftentimes, and a lot of people know it, it's for spy purposes or to get into the background of other individuals and to be able to establish themselves and connect themselves with the university, but still controlling the basic core of the university institution as an Americanized institution reaching out into the East. The East-West Center oftentimes used as the West looking into the East Center, and perhaps a reversal and an examination of all societies and how to examine and take the best of all societies. That is a true East-West Center, but it cannot be true as long as it is run by the West looking at the East. Okay, I've rattled enough on this particular matter.
Kaulana na pua o Hawaii, Kupa ama hope o ka aina, Iki mai ka elele o ka loko ino, Pala pala anunu me ka paka. Pane mai Hawaii moku o ke ave, Koku ana honoa o Pilani, Ka ko'o mai kaua I o mano, Pa'aku me ke one o ka kuhi hewa. Aolea e kau I ka pulima, Maluna o ka pepa o ka enemi, Po'ohui ai nā ku ai hewa, I ka pono sivila a o ke kanā.